Hey guys, Young Deegs here with Certain Point of Review, and I'm here with another primer for the upcoming Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon. As always, keep in mind that there are likely some spoilers ahead, so consider yourself warned. And if you haven't yet seen our previous character primers on Daemon and Rhaenyra Targaryen, we encourage you to do so before jumping into this one. Today, by popular demand, we're going to be covering the Kingmaker himself, Ser Criston Cole. Now, up until now, the characters we've covered have both been born into royalty, and for the most part, all of the main players in the Dance of the Dragons are members of great Westerosi houses. But Ser Criston Cole marks a noted departure from this trend. Born in 82 AC to a family of stewards serving House Dondarrion, Criston came from fairly humble beginnings. Perhaps because of these unassuming origins, history tells us very little about Criston's formative years.
Perhaps the archives are incomplete.
What is known is that by the time he was in his early 20s, Criston was both a capable warrior and a bit of a lady killer. And it's around this time that Criston would first make a name for himself in the eyes of the Westerosi elite, by emerging victorious from the melee held in honor of King Viserys' ascension in 104 AC. This was no small feat, mind you, as among the many combatants Criston had to overcome stood the rogue prince, Daemon Targaryen himself, wielding the formidable Valyrian steel blade of his ancestors, Dark Sister. As the accounts tell it, Criston unconventionally wielded a Morning Star in place of a longsword, and proved himself a virtuoso with the weapon by overpowering Prince Daemon and knocking the famed Dark Sister from his hands. Criston's decisive victory over the infamous rogue prince drew the attention of many at royal court, and he further endeared himself to the crown by giving the victor's laurel to a delighted 7-year-old Princess Rhaenyra. And if his victory in the melee wasn't enough, Cole continued to excite the crowd by once again trouncing Prince Daemon in the jousts, much to the princess' chagrin. Although he was eventually unhorsed by Lord Lyman Mallister, Criston's exploits on the day earned him the respect of the kingdom. And with his rugged good looks and easy charm, it didn't take long for Criston to become a household name among the ladies of the court. Among Cole's many admirers, perhaps none was more smitten than the precocious Princess Rhaenyra, who begged her father to name Ser Criston as her own personal shield and protector. Never one to deny his beloved daughter, King Viserys relented, and Criston soon found himself a regular at the Red Keep. Just a year later, Criston was appointed to the legendary Kingsguard at the ripe age of 23. As the years passed, Criston became a constant companion to Princess Rhaenyra, accompanying her to all manner of feasts and events. She, in turn, continued to grow into a free-spirited teenager, and it was during these adolescent years that the animosity between Queen Alicent and the princess began to grow into the palpable political movements that would eventually engulf the kingdom. Criston, who had by now grown quite fond of the princess, was not immune to these changing tides. In 111 AC, during the great tourney that would forever solidify the two sides into concrete, if colorfully named factions, Criston fought fiercely against Queen Alicent's Green Champions, wearing Princess Rhaenyra's favor as he unhorsed each of them in turn. A year later, in 112 AC, the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, Sir Harold Westerling, died, and it was Criston who was named as his successor. With the title, Cole also gained the accompanying seat on the Small Council and the sheer political power that came with it. This jump in rank cannot be overstated. In just 8 years, Criston Cole had gone from being a low-born knight in the employ of a middling house to being one of the most powerful men in the entire realm. And yet, despite Criston's advancement, disaster loomed in the horizon. As we've noted previously, Rhaenyra's admiration of Criston had been an open secret at court since the knight's appointment. And while this was initially regarded as nothing more than an innocent childhood crush, things quickly began to change as the princess edged closer and closer to womanhood. Perhaps unsurprisingly, Queen Alicent was among the first to sow the seeds of suspicion, when she publicly quipped that while Criston could protect Rhaenyra from her enemies, there was nobody to protect Rhaenyra from Criston. Then, when King Viserys banished Prince Daemon from the capital in late 111 AC, rumors emerged that the rogue prince had enraged the king by giving young Rhaenyra, explicit lessons on how to pleasure men, all for the sake of, you guessed it, seducing her beloved Ser Criston. It should be noted that the truth of these claims has never been confirmed, and that there is no evidence to support this account apart from the largely unreliable testimony of Mushroom, the king's jester at the time. Indeed, Mushroom's tale seems somewhat unlikely when one considers that King Viserys made no attempt to separate Rhaenyra and Ser Criston after supposedly learning of the princess's inappropriate intentions. In any case, regardless of whether the claims are true or not, the mere existence of these rumors neatly illustrates how suspicious the lords and ladies at court had become of Rhaenyra's relationship to Criston. In 113 AC, King Viserys betrothed Rhaenyra to Laenor Velaryon, the son of Ser Corlys the Sea Snake and the queen that never was, Rhaenys Targaryen. This was a very strong political match, for the Velaryons were the de facto second house of Westeros. And while Rhaenyra openly resisted the match at first, she eventually relented when her father threatened to make her half-brother Aegon the royal heir instead of her. And it's at this point that our story must take diverging paths. You see, not long after Rhaenyra agreed to marry Laenor, something inexplicable happened between her and Ser Criston, something which would change the course of history in Westeros forever. And we have no idea what it was. Okay, that's not quite true. We have some idea of what might have happened. You see, long after this event transpired, two leading theories would emerge to explain what happened on that fateful night. The first theory, championed by the aforementioned Mushroom, was that 16-year-old Rhaenyra slipped into Criston's bedchamber in the middle of the night and attempted to seduce the Lord Commander. According to Mushroom, Ser Criston remained true to his vows and steadfastly spurned the princess's lustful advances.
What?
I guess I have a lot to learn about holiday tradition. Mistletoe for Edie tastes good? Oh.
Rhaenyra, spurned and furious, fled from Criston's quarters to find solace in the arms of another knight, Sir Harwin Strong, who lacked Criston's scruples and took the princess's maidenhead. Another account, championed by one Septon Eustace, tells a much different tale and paints Criston as the one who approached Rhaenyra in her bedchamber, declaring his love for her and even offering to elope with her to one of the free cities. According to this account, Rhaenyra refused Ser Criston, reminding him that a Targaryen was meant to be more than the wife of a sellsword, and that if he could so easily forget his vows as a Kingsguard, then marriage vows would mean nothing to him either. Now, what's odd about these accounts is that both Mushroom and Eustace are noted for having clear biases in their retelling of other events, but seem to switch sides when it comes to this one. Mushroom was known to be a black sympathizer, and yet his report shows the leader of the blacks, Rhaenyra, in the worst light possible, while Criston Cole is presented as a paragon of restraint. On the other hand, Septon Eustace, who is largely considered a card-carrying green, tells a story where Rhaenyra comes off looking like a proper princess, and Criston like a vow-breaking sad boy. What motive these men would have to champion narratives so contradictory to their own political beliefs remains a mystery to this day. What we do know for sure is that whatever happened that night, Criston's allegiance radically changed from one day to the other, literally. In the span of a single night, the love that Ser Criston had once borne for Princess Rhaenyra turned to loathing and disdain. With their relationship now irreparable, Rhaenyra took on another champion in Sir Harwin Strong and set sail to Driftmark not long thereafter to prepare for her wedding. But if you thought the drama ended there, you'd be dead wrong. So deep was Criston's vendetta against Rhaenyra that during the tourney in celebration of her wedding to Laenor, Ser Cole took up arms and fought on behalf of none other than Rhaenyra's bitter rival, Queen Alicent. But wait, there is more. During the melee, Criston fought like a madman with something to prove. When fighting Rhaenyra's new champion, Sir Harwin, popularly named Breakbones, Criston left him with such grievous injuries that Mushroom would thereafter refer to him as Broken Bones. And that wasn't even the worst of it. Criston would go on to beat Sir Joffrey Lonmouth, Laenor's favorite knight, so badly that Sir Lonmouth would die just a few days later from his injuries. Many, including King Viserys, were angered by Criston's display of brutality, which generally put a damper on the celebrations. But Queen Alicent, happy to see Rhaenyra's champions beaten to a bloody pulp, rewarded Criston by naming him her personal sword. And from that point on, Criston became a staunch supporter of Queen Alicent, not only guarding her children, but also training them as warriors, with young Aemond especially showing great promise. And now, having essentially burned all bridges with Rhaenyra, and with King Viserys growing older and weaker with each passing day, Criston settles into his new allegiance with the Greens, knowing full well that should Rhaenyra successfully inherit the throne, he stands to lose far more than just his position as commander of the Kingsguard.